story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
This is CoreTV News on the hour. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. After much speculation, presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress has announced Professor Yemi Osinbajo as his running mate for the 2015 presidential elections. In justifying his choice, Buhari described the senior advocate of Nigeria as a man of integrity and a role model. Several party leaders attended the press briefing in Abuja, where Osinbajo was named as Buhari's running mate.
To assist me in this great task of securing Nigeria's future, I have chosen a man of impeachable integrity, an excellent professional, a man of faith, a devoted family man, and a role model to our fellow countrymen and women. I present Professor Yemi Osinbajo, who by the grace of God and the vote of Nigerians will be the next Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
I accept the nomination gladly and happily, and I'm honored to work with General Buhari, who everyone knows, even his detractors know, that he is an upright, honest man who is fiercely committed to good governance. And I believe that it will be a special privilege to work with him.
Meanwhile, the national leader of the APC, Bola Tinubu, says he was given the option of becoming the running mate of Muhammadu Buhari, the party's presidential candidate, but he turned it down in national interest. In a statement issued on Wednesday, he said he was moved about the Buhari's offer as a human being, but he had to look at the larger picture in view of the Muslim ticket controversy. He says, and I quote, "There came a time during the course of the events when our presidential candidate, Muhammadu Buhari, offered the vice presidential slot to me. Being a normal human being, I was deeply moved and honored that he would consider me for the position. Being a patriot, I had to weigh my potential candidacy in all of its dimensions." End of quote. And former Kwara State Governor, Senator Bukola Saraki, has clarified the role played by the national leader of the APC, Bola Tinubu, in her choice of Professor Yemi Osinbajo as running mate for Muhammadu Buhari. He said in a statement issued in Abuja that contrary to reports, Tinubu was not bent on imposing himself as vice presidential candidate. Saraki noted that as someone privy to meetings, the former Lagos State Governor was keen on drawing attention to the issue of religion and ethnicity and had ruled himself out. This, he explained, is in spite of the fact that the Southwest is not known to pay too much attention to religion in the choice of candidates. Senator Saraki also hailed the choice of Professor Osinbajo as the party's vice presidential candidate and running mate of General Muhammadu Buhari. Also, Lagos Vice Chairman of the APC, Wahab Ologunde, has described the emergence of Yemi Osinbajo as the party's vice presidential candidate as the result of the expectation of all Nigerians. He added that the combination of Buhari and Osinbajo will bring about the change Nigerians have keenly looked forward to.
The emergence of our vice presidential candidate a few hours ago is a very welcome development, not only to APC members, but to the generality of the Nigerian populace, especially the voters, because everybody has been angling for a change. We have had more than enough of the nonsense being done by PDP in the name of governance for so many years, and we cannot continue to suffer and allow this country to go from bad to worse. The country deserves a change, And what has simply happened by the emergence of the vice presidential candidate is to tell all Nigerians that the APC is very well set for the task and the challenges ahead. And by the grace of God, we shall not disappoint Nigerians.
Amazingly, the vice president candidate of the APC's name has been misspelled over the years, and probably because of the annual spelling bee competition, ironically put together by the wife of a leading opposition figure for students of primary and secondary schools in Lagos, would have since undone this great damage. The question is, why has the person concerned never thought of correcting this anomaly? That rarely is a case for another day. But thank God it's never too late. CoreTV News was thrown into a mild drama yesterday over the development. The rest is the story in this report.
CoreTV News librarian Bankole Ajibade and producer of the station's breakfast show, Emmanuel Ajayi, had stumbled on what has turned out to be the correct name of the APC vice presidential candidate, Yemi Osinbajo, and quickly brought it to the attention of the news production desk. It became a subject of arguments because it did not sink in on time. A check on the man's Twitter handle was to later change the arguments in favor of the two. A peep into Nigeria's independent online newspaper, The Cable, again brought the issue to bear and finally laid it to bed. According to The Cable, the APC vice presidential candidate is so relatively new to the public eye that the media don't even know his correct surname. The media in Nigeria know him as Yemi, quite alright, but is it Yemi Osinbajo? His name has been misspelled by the media for the past 15 years, and there is no indication that he has ever tried to correct it. Self-effacing and relatively new to the political fray, indeed, there are not many pictures to choose from when you Google his name. To his credit, though all searches for Osinbajo or Osinbajo lead to the same person, some consolation there according to The Cable. The Punch has been alternating between Osinbajo and Osinbajo. CoreTV News, TVC, Channels Television, This Day, PM News, The Cable and Premium Times, to name but this few, seem fascinated with Osinbajo. Why Nigeria wrote Osinbajo in one headline and Osinbajo towards the end of the story. The nation, which should know him very well, is sure it is Osinbajo. To know more about him, here are a few facts on the intellectual and public speaker. His name is Yemi Osinbajo. Memorize it because you may need it later. Osinbajo, that is 8 letter words. The Cable says it has been obsessed with Osinbajo for no known reason. But this erratum, according to the online newspaper, should call its editors to order henceforth. We mean to also add here that all Nigerian journalists should henceforth take this into consideration. The meaning of his name is not easily accessible to the younger Yoruba generation. All they will tell you is that Oshin is a water bird and Aju is a journey. Now to connect the two and make sense out of it is left to the older generation. The Cable refuses to hazard a meaning, but Osinbajo's well-wishers will certainly hope his journey to Aso Rock will be as smooth as Oshin sailing on water. In his native Ijebu, one of the oldest and most distant dialects of the Yoruba language, Oshin could also refer to a child, and Osinbajo, Oshinbo láti àjò, could then be interpreted to mean a child has returned from a journey, a good sign that all went well. In that case, his well-wishers will be hoping that his journey into politics will be worth the while, and he will have every reason to rejoice when he ends his national service. We at CoreTV joined The Cable and the rest of the nation's media to hope Osinbajo himself will take time when he's less busy to explain the meaning of his name to us for our education. Everybody who got it wrong should, however, be forgiven. Osinbajo is but a new kid on the block. He has been limited to the intellectual and ecclesiastical circles since the left government in 2007. Here lies the big lesson. What a name, what a spelling.
The Southwest PDP has again rolled out support for President Goodluck Jonathan as the candidate of the party for the 2015 presidential election. The party members turned out in their large number in Lagos to showcase the president and his achievements ahead of the poll. Olajumoke Olatunji has more in this report.
Barely 2 months away from the 2015 general elections and with the just concluded party primaries nationwide, which have also produced party candidates for different political positions, the stage is set as Nigerians eagerly await the polls. With the ratification of President Goodluck Jonathan by 2,050 delegates at the recent National Convention of the PDP as the party's candidate for the February 14 presidential election, its leadership, members and supporters are again set to flow in the direction of its flag bearers. Against this backdrop, the Southwest PDP converged in Lagos to show their support for their candidate ahead next year's presidential election. Speaking at the occasion, one-time Attorney General and Minister of Justice Richard Akinjide stated while it is essentially necessary to support the Jonathan's ambition ahead the 2015 presidential election.
Categorically, by the grace of God, that our candidate Goodluck Jonathan will definitely win the next election. Essentially, only 2 candidates for the coming election. And number 1 is our own candidate, Goodluck Jonathan. And the other candidate is from the other weak party, who we all know very well.
A chieftain of the party in Lagos, Bode George, assures Jonathan's readiness to complete his work on the transformation of Nigeria.
President Jonathan is the first president who convoked a national conference that started, that's an elected, not military. You know, we military used to, by fiat, create constitution. This man had the nerves, the temerity, the conviction that there was need for us to discuss the Nigerian project. He started it. He did not at any point interfere with the process of that conference. He allowed us to discuss our nation, to discuss profound solutions to the problems of this country. And I can confidently tell you, because I was a delegate there, that for the first time I saw Nigerians of all shades and character, from the swampy forest to the savanna regions in the north, explain the problems and provide solutions to these problems.
Another PDP chieftain, Tanko Yakasai, absolved Jonathan of blame over the issue of insurgency and called for unity beyond political party lines in finding solutions to the issue.
Boko Haram came to the Nigerian scene way back in the year 2002. That was 3 years into General Obasanjo's presidential tenure when he was elected in 1999. By 2002, General Obasanjo was 3 years in office. That was the time when Boko Haram started. Between that time to date, Boko Haram struck at different locations and different places, in particular the north, for more than 12 times. And the federal government has nothing to do with it. And indeed, no government will encourage insurgency against itself.
The summation of opinions at the gathering points in one direction. As agreed, that a president like Jonathan is what Nigeria needs at this time of its development. Olajumoke Olatunji, CoreTV News, Lagos.
You're on to CoreTV News on the hour. I'll be back after this break with more stories. Don't go away.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Welcome back. You can also get all of the top stories on any of the social media platforms. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/CoreTV News. Moving on now, governors elected on the platform of the People's Democratic Party have dismissed the threat posed by the opposition All Progressives Congress. They say the ruling PDP remained the party to beat at next year's general election. Addressing journalists after a meeting in Abuja, Chairman of PDP Governors Forum, Godswill Akpabio, says the governors reviewed the state of the party and are confident that it's the only one with national appeal. He said the meeting, which ended in the early hours of Wednesday, is meant for the governors to strategize ahead of next year's elections.
The PDP governors met today and reviewed the state of our party and the state of the nation. And of course, it was a strategic meeting because of the period we are in. So we looked at what the situation is today, and we are very confident that with the strategies we have discussed, the PDP remains the party to beat in any election in Nigeria. We feel strongly that at the end of the day, that the propaganda will be lifted, and Nigerians, of course, know the only truly national party that can answer to their aspirations and can enhance the living standard of all Nigerians. And we discussed as colleagues, and we looked at the situation step by step, and we are quite very confident that yes, 2015 remains victory for the PDP.
The Senate has directed its Committee on Independent National Electoral Commission to liaise with INEC on the need to establish special polling units for people displaced by insurgency in the Northeast. This was on the basis of a bill for the amendment of the 2014 Electoral Act sponsored by Senator Ali Ndume, representing Borno South Senatorial District. Ndume later spoke with newsmen on why special arrangements are necessary for internally displaced persons.
When they are in their homes, they are not being fed, but we still prefer to be in your house and you feed yourself than you be in a camp where you are being fed.
What can you say to the Nigerian military so far?
Well, the Nigerian military is doing its best. The progress so far is very encouraging, and I hope they continue with that, because as at yesterday, I think the Nigerian military are approaching Goza, and we are very hopeful that maybe even before the election, we will be able to go back to our homes. In that way, we will not be worried about the issue of internally displaced persons taking the polling unit to where they are camping. We hope that this thing will come to an end as early as possible.
Meanwhile, Chief of Defense Staff Alex Bade has boldly declared again that Nigeria is winning the war against insurgency in spite of the continued activities of Boko Haram in the northeast. He cited the situation in Mubi, one of the towns initially seized by the insurgents, but now under the control of Nigerian security forces. Bade spoke to State House correspondents shortly after leading security chiefs to a breakfast session with President Goodluck Jonathan.
Of course, we are aware of the security situation in the country, and the president thought it fit to call us this morning for us to come and brief him about the current situation of things. And that's what we have done. We have told the president exactly where we are and our future plans. But as you know, we can't talk about our future plans because that will be now telling the enemy what we are doing. I think we'll just leave it at that.
Yes, the SSS arrested some group of people who they said they were the fake negotiators. We know that once you told us that the government, there was a truce, between government and the Boko Haram people. And this turned out to be fake negotiators. So what's your comment on this?
Well, it's better not to discuss those things. SSS is on it. They are doing their own investigations, and when they finish, they started with the briefing yesterday. They have told you exactly what they are doing. I think we better just leave SSS to handle that one, and they will tell the nation exactly what is happening.
Can we really say we are winning this war, sir?
We are certainly not losing it. We are winning the war. Don't worry. Nigerians should have faith in their military. The nation will win this war.
Life is returning to Mubi now. Where do you take off from here? I mean, the way people are coming back, the EMIA, everybody is returning to. Where are you taking off from there?
Well, they have gone by. Life is back to normal in Mubi. Life is back to normal everywhere around that place. And we are liberating more and more communities, and people are moving in. Life is running back to normal gradually.
2015 election is
it will hold. It will hold. Don't worry.
It will hold.
It will hold.
What are you doing about the problem of fifth columnists?
Don't worry. The military is handling fifth columnists in its own way. Okay.
Thank you very much. Best of luck, sir.
All right.
A military court-martial has, however, sentenced 54 soldiers to death after they were found guilty of mutiny. This is the second set of soldiers to be convicted since war against insurgency began in the northeast. The soldiers, who were mostly privates, were found guilty on the 2-count charge of criminal conspiracy to commit mutiny, but 4 of them were acquitted. They were alleged to have disobeyed orders to join a military operation against the Boko Haram while serving at the 7th Division of the Nigerian Army in Maiduguri. The budget proposal to the federal lawmakers, Finance Minister Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala gave a breakdown of the spending plan at a news conference in Abuja. The Finance Minister revealed that falling oil price has forced the country to review its growth rate estimates to 5.5% from its original projection of 6.35%. To boost its revenue drive, Nigeria is strengthening its tax administration as well as tightening public sector spending in the aftermath of fluctuating oil prices.
A barrel benchmark, and we are going to stick to it for now in spite of the declining prices, because we feel the average price next year will be around 65 to 70. The production level is 2.27 million barrels per day. We are expecting, we've revised the growth rate based on the new parameters for the country down from 6.35 to 5.5% next year, but that is still one of the fastest growth rates we're experiencing in the world today. We have a budget expenditure of about 4.3 trillion, revenues of 3.6 trillion. We've tried to make up for the drop from $78 a barrel to 65 by raising non-oil revenues. This budget points to the fact that this country is a non-oil country, and I think we want Nigerians to begin to think of the country in that way. So we have worked very hard with the guidance of Mr. President to move on non-oil revenue. So we have closed many loopholes and leakages. We've tried to broaden the tax base. We've speeded up audits. We've looked for everywhere. We've closed some exemptions. All of this will bring additional revenues into the coffers.
Outside Nigeria, Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott has ordered an urgent inquiry into why a deranged Islamic gunman was not under surveillance and how he obtained citizenship. Security was stepped up after a failed cafe siege. Iranian-born man Heron Moniz, 50, had a history of extremism and violence and was on bail for a string of charges, including sexual offenses and abetting the murder of his ex-wife. Yet was allowed to roam free and take 17 hostages at a cafe in the heart of Sydney on Monday, unfurling an Islamic flag during a 16-hour siege, which left him and 2 innocent victims dead. 6 others were wounded. The gunman, whom Abbott called a madman, was well known to both state and federal police and the domestic spy agency, but was not on any Australian counter-terrorism watch
until I am confident that you are as safe
as any government can possibly make him. How he was given permanent residency and the circumstances under which he was given permanent residency, how he came to be, for such a large part of his time in Australia, on social security benefits, given that he appears to be able-bodied, if not necessarily of sound mind. These are all important questions, and I share the exasperation of the Australian public at what appears to be someone who has been having a lend of us, at the very least, for so many years.
That wraps it this hour on CoreTV News. Join us again at the top of the hour for more stories. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Thanks for being there.